One is you've got to be very careful in situations where, I've been looking at these for 12 or 15 years now. You got to be careful in situations where from year to year to year the same name continues to pop up, because that tells you something. That tells you that whoever's still interested in this company is valuing it below its net current asset value, and it may not move out of that. Interesting company. Audiovox was a net for years and years, and that's just the way the market decided to value it. It wasn't until, and the company traded sideways, and you look at it, and on paper it looked great. They had cash, but it was always trading below net current asset value. They finally made an acquisition, and the last 6 months or so since this acquisition, which by the way drained a lot of their cash, so they're no longer a net, company's taken off. So I'm very wary of situations where I see them appearing year after year after year after year. That can kind of tell you something. The other situation, early on, back in 2002, there was a great looking little company called Alu Health and Beauty. It was a net. It was getting some press. I remember Business Week wrote it up as one of the top small companies. And it looked very, very interesting. Trading below net current asset value, profitable. So, it looks pretty good, even getting some coverage by the broader media, which doesn't happen very often. So, interesting story, because probably 6 months later, there was a fire at the warehouse in Brooklyn, Alu's warehouse, where they kept all their health and beauty items, a lot of which, of course, are made with alcohol and products that are very flammable. So what happens? It goes up in smoke. Okay? So then the question becomes, what about the insurance coverage? And not to worry, there's plenty of insurance coverage. Then you discover that there had been a similar fire a few years ago that insurance had covered. Well, as the story begins to develop, what comes out of it is someone in the company set the fire. And what turned out was a lot of management went to jail. It was a family-run business. There was questions about the inventory. There was questions about whether the inventory was real, which made the current asset structure look better than it actually was in reality. And to cover this up and to get the insurance proceeds, they set fire to the place. Bankrupt. So the lesson there, well, if you had looked really closely at that, you would have seen inventory being financed by short-term debt. And in hindsight, it was a situation that could not continue, and it begged for someone to look at it saying, is this real or not? So that's a great example of one that went up literally in smoke. And there's still litigation going. There's still class action lawsuits that I think they're about to be settled, for shareholders who own that. So big lesson there. You got to be real careful about what you're buying. And if something raises a question in your mind, you can't just dismiss it. You got to pursue it. What's really wrong here? What's going on here?